She kisses me automatically, lips pressing to mine with a mechanical softness as I stand in the kitchen, trying to place my coffee mug on the counter. It's early morning. I can still feel the grit of sleep in my eyes, the familiar ache in my lower back. Her kiss doesn't warm me, it feels more like a quick stamp on a letter. Done. Move on. I notice the taste of peppermint toothpaste lingering on her mouth. Once, that used to make me smile. But today, there's no warmth behind her lips. I'm too numb to even ask why. She disappears into the hallway, heading for the living room, phone already in her hand. I catch a glimpse of her expression reflected in the glass cabinet door, eyes distant, brows slightly knitted. And I think, not again. Something in me twists, painfully slow. We barely speak before she leaves. The kids rush by, half-dressed, grabbing breakfast on the go. There's the usual flurry, someone can't find a shoe, someone yells about a missing homework assignment. She's in the middle of it, orchestrating like always, but her voice has a sharp edge that makes me flinch. I don't say a thing. I just stand there, pressing my fingertips into the edge of the table, feeling the wood cut into my palms. It's the only thing that registers, the pressure against my skin. Everything else is a blur of footsteps and voices. The front door opens. Then it slams. Silence. I exhale slowly, feeling my lungs burn. The day stretches ahead of me like a barren road. I should be getting dressed for work. I should be finishing the financial reports for the meeting. I should be thinking about the new client. But all I do is stare at the swirl of steam rising from my coffee. My heart beats in my ears, dull and heavy. There's a camera in the living room. A small device hidden near the bookshelf. We'd installed it for safety reasons years ago, so we could check on the kids when they were younger. Nobody pays attention to it anymore. It's subtle, about the size of a matchbox, a dull black eye that sees more than we realize. I'm the only one who knows it still records regularly. Lately, it's become a habit. I review the footage at night, not because I expect a burglary but because I feel something is wrong. I can't explain it. I just sense a distance in the house, a tension in the air that cracks like ice underfoot. Last night, I sat up alone, laptop open. The house was dark, the only light was the soft glow of the screen. I clicked through the timestamps. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days ago, little moments. The kids walking in, dropping backpacks on the floor. My wife scrolling on her phone, pacing. Then, my breath caught, some new figure in the living room. A man, tall, leaning close to her. I saw her tilt her head, pressing her body to him. My gut clenched, and I felt the blood drain from my face. I found myself thinking, that's not real, it's some glitch, or maybe a friend, or a relative I forgot. But I watched them talk in hushed tones, her hand on his arm. And it wasn't the gesture of a casual friend. The longer I looked, the more I saw, the way her fingers slid against his shirt, the way she bit her lower lip. I could almost hear her breath hitch, even though the footage had no sound. Then, a day later in the timeline, I saw them again. Different clothes, same intensity. She was smiling in that special way, the smile she used to give me once. A smile I never saw on her face anymore. But the worst part? The video from yesterday. The late afternoon was quiet. The kids hadn't come back yet. The man arrived, letting himself in. I tried to recall if she had mentioned any visitor. No. I saw them move to the sofa. She was talking, her face animated, her hands pressed to his chest. Then she kissed him. Long, deep, with a hunger I haven't felt from her in a long time. He touched her hair, then slid his hand down her back. My head pounded. I was breathing so loudly I thought I might wake the entire house. I felt the dryness in my mouth, the cold sweat on my spine as I watched them. It wasn't a quick embrace, it was raw, unhurried. Her eyes closed, and she tipped her head back, lips parted. Then she whispered something to him, something that made him laugh. They embraced more fiercely, her hands gripping his shoulders. After a moment, she let out a stifled moan. And I just sat there, swallowing the bile in my throat. Everything inside me died a little bit. That's how I discovered it for sure. That's how I realized I'm not just imagining the distance. She's giving her body, her moans, to another man right under my nose. And there I was, a damned ghost in my own house, staring at silent footage that hammered 1,000 nails into my chest. So this morning, when she gave me that automatic kiss on the mouth, I knew exactly who she'd been kissing the day before. I stare at my coffee. I remember the videos. My fingers tremble as I pick up the mug. Part of me wants to throw it across the room. But I just sip. It tastes bitter and thin. Asterisk. Work is a haze. People talk at me in the office. I see their lips moving, but the words don't really register. My boss updates me about a new client. My coworker hands me files. Normally, I'd dive into the numbers, reorganize the data, prepare a crisp analysis. But my mind is stuck replaying those images in a loop. Her hair pinned up, that quiet murmur in the corner of the living room. Her eyes fluttering as he held her. I catch myself digging my nails into my palm until it hurts. At lunchtime, I skip eating. I just sit in my car, seat pushed back, fingers wrapped around the steering wheel. My ring taps the vinyl again and again. Usually, I'd call her around midday, ask how she's doing, maybe confirm dinner plans. We used to do that. Now I don't. She probably wouldn't answer, or if she did, it would be short and cold. Anyway, I have nothing to say. Or I have too much to say, and I'm afraid if I open my mouth, a torrent of fury will pour out, unstoppable. I leave the office early. Nobody notices. I drive around the city, ignoring phone notifications. I pass by old neighborhoods, half-remembered shops. My hands tremble on the wheel. I keep telling myself, calm down. Calm down. But I can't. My chest feels tight, like I'm breathing through a straw. Eventually, I head home. The house is quiet when I arrive. She must still be out, maybe picking up the kids or meeting that bastard. I can't stand the idea of them laughing somewhere in a cafe, maybe whispering about me. My stomach churns. I step inside, and the emptiness of the living room roars in my ears. I go straight to the little camera on the shelf. It's on standby. My eyes flick to the couch, to the pillows where she straddled him just yesterday, on camera. A sudden wave of nausea hits me. The ghost of their presence hovers all around. I can almost smell his cologne. I swallow hard, forcing the bile down. Asterisk. Night. She's home, but we don't speak. The kids are off in their rooms. She busies herself in the kitchen. She doesn't ask about my day. I don't ask about hers. At one point, she says something about tomorrow's grocery list, but I can't even respond. She glances at me over her shoulder, eyes wary, and for a fraction of a second, I think she suspects I know. Or maybe she feels my anger. Then she turns away. We sleep in the same bed, but there's a gulf between us. I lie on my back, staring at the ceiling. I can hear her breathing. It's shallow, uneasy. My heart throbs like a bruise. I wonder if she's remembering how she moaned in the living room. My fists clench, but I remain silent. I don't have the strength for a confrontation tonight. Asterisk. The next day starts similarly. Another automatic kiss, less of a kiss, more the brush of her lips near my cheek, as if even that minimal contact is too much. I nod, though my throat is tight. She leaves. Kids follow. The door slams. I sink onto a chair, leaning forward, burying my face in my hands. My mind reels. I decide I can't do this routine anymore. Something has to break. I go to work. I pretend all is normal. I do the tasks they expect. But inside, I'm unraveling. By the time evening falls, I'm a coiled spring of dread and fury. I hurry home earlier than usual. I want to check the camera again, see if she came by this afternoon with him. That's how paranoid I've become, rummaging for the slightest new detail. It's like picking at a scab, just to make it bleed more. Sure enough, there's new footage from that morning. He dropped by. Short visit, maybe half an hour. They stood in the hallway, close, bodies angled intimately. She touched his chest. They spoke in hushed tones, and I squinted at the screen, imagining how her voice might sound, soft, warm, the voice she never uses with me anymore. Then they parted. He left. I noticed the longing in her face as she watched him go. I can't breathe. Asterisk. She returns that night, a grocery bag in each arm. The kids are already back from after-school activities. I help her with the bags. My hands are shaking. She doesn't notice. Or pretends not to. We put items away in silence. Then she finally speaks. "What's going on with you?" she asks, glancing at me, eyebrows drawn tight. I let out a long breath. My voice feels like gravel. Nothing. She sets the carton of eggs on the counter. "You're not speaking. You're not even." "I don't know, you seem off." I almost laugh. Off. Right. I think about the footage, about her moans, about the betrayal lodged in my chest like shrapnel. I can't find words that aren't drenched in rage. So I just stand there. Silent. She exhales, pressing her lips together. Fine. Whatever. I watch her walk away. My eyes are burning. I stand there for a full minute, fists clenched. Then I follow her into the living room. She's sorting mail, flicking through envelopes on the coffee table. I can hear the kids upstairs, their voices drifting down. The house, so normal on the surface, like an empty shell. I clear my throat. "Jen." She doesn't look up. Yeah. Everything inside me vibrates with anger and hurt. But I try to keep my voice steady. "We need to talk." Finally, she lifts her eyes. There's a flicker of something in them, fear, maybe. Guilt. She straightens. "Can it wait? I'm really busy." Her tone is clipped, dismissive. "Busy with what?" I rasp, stepping closer. I feel my pulse hammering in my temples. "I think I deserve 5 minutes of your time." She frowns. "Why are you talking like that?" I open my mouth, but no sound comes. The words stick in my throat. We lock eyes. My face must betray something, because her own gaze wavers. She sets the mail aside carefully, with trembling fingers. Then she stands up, crossing her arms. "Okay," she says, voice suddenly high-pitched, "what is it?" I swallow. My thoughts swirl. For a moment, I think about telling her how I feel, betrayed, humiliated, furious, destroyed. But something in me steals over. I become cold. Detached. My voice drops into a monotone I barely recognize. "I know," I say. A tense heartbeat passes. Her eyebrows knit. "You know what?" My breath feels heavy. "I know about him." Her arms lower to her sides, and she looks at me like I just slapped her. What are you talking about?" I stay silent, letting her stare at me. After a moment, a flicker of panic crosses her face, and she glances over my shoulder, as if expecting the kids to barge in. She swallows. "We can't do this here." I nod jerkily. My voice is cold. "Upstairs. Now." Asterisk. We head to our bedroom. She closes the door behind us. I stand near the foot of the bed, arms folded. She's near the dresser, gripping the edge of it like it's the only thing keeping her upright. Her eyes dart around, panicked, calculating. My heart is hammering, but outwardly, I feel like I'm made of stone. How? She finally asks, her voice unsteady. How do you know? I stare at her. In my mind, I see the camera's silent footage. There's a recording, I say, my tone blunt. In the living room. Her breath catches. She presses a hand to her forehead. Oh God, you've been spying on me. I can't believe her audacity. Spying. It's our camera, Jen. The one we installed years ago to watch the kids. Remember? I just never turned it off. She closes her eyes, exhaling a shaky breath. This isn't. I mean, it's not what you think, she tries. Really? I snap. Then what the hell is it? Because from what I've seen, you're having sex in our house with a stranger while I'm at work. She flinches, color draining from her face. Her voice cracks. He's not a stranger. He's. I hold up my hand, cutting her off. I can't bear to hear her excuses. For a moment, there's nothing but the sound of our ragged breathing. Finally, I manage to speak again, each word forced. Is it over? I ask in a dead voice. She stares at me, wide-eyed, lips parted. She hesitates. That hesitation is the final bullet. I feel it slam into my chest. Tears well up in her eyes, but I don't see remorse there. More like fear of being caught. Fear of consequences. She steps forward. I'm sorry. It's just something that happened. I never meant to. I recoil. Don't. She tries to touch my arm, but I jerk away. She gasps, tears spilling, voice rising. You're scaring me. Scared? I echo, voice raw. Try humiliating me under my own roof. Try making me feel worthless. That's real fear. She starts sobbing, bringing her hands to her face. It's loud, dramatic. My ears ring. Once, I would have rushed to hold her, to comfort her. Now I just watch, numb. My throat feels like sandpaper. She chokes out, I didn't want to hurt you. You were so distant, always working, never paying attention. I felt invisible. Then he came along, he listened, he made me feel alive. Stop, I hiss. Her words sting like acid. My voice shakes with barely contained fury. I'm done listening to excuses. Her sobs intensify. She collapses onto the bed, burying her face in her hands. Between ragged breaths, she blurts out, I love you, I do, but I was so lonely. You don't understand. I stare at the ceiling, eyes burning, my fists clenched at my sides. Get out, I say quietly. She lifts her tear-streaked face. What? Get out. My tone is flat, final. The venom in my gut threatens to spew, but I clamp down on it. Before I do something I regret. She scrambles to her feet, trembling, and slips out the door. I stand there, listening to her footsteps hurry down the stairs. She's crying, maybe. I hear the front door slam. Another slam. Another wave of silence. And I just stand in the bedroom, breathing, my hands shaking with adrenaline and heartbreak. I realize something in that moment. I can't stay here, in this marriage, in this house, like nothing's happened. It's over. The life I had in mind, the illusions of trust, they're all dust. Asterisk. I say nothing to the kids that night. I brood like a statue. They notice something's off, they ask, where's mom? I mutter some vague answer. They look worried, but they don't push. Eventually, they go to bed, and I'm left alone with the nighttime hush. I turn on the living room light. The couch stands there, mocking me. I wonder how many times they made love there, giggling, whispering about my ignorance. I swallow the bitterness and open my laptop. My mind is too fractured to cry or rage or break things. Instead, I go into mechanical mode, like a cornered animal that's too numb to feel. I start combing through documents, bank accounts, insurance policies, the will, the trust funds. I want to sever ties. I want to remove her name, pull the rug from under her. No hysterics, no dishes thrown, just cold, methodical rearranging of everything we built together. Destroying it with a few clicks. I feel my breathing slow. A dull calm overtakes me. I see her face in my mind, twisted with tears. She was always so certain she could manipulate me with them. Maybe she never meant it that way, but that's how it felt, like I was a convenient provider, a stable rock to stand on while she indulged her cravings somewhere else. By dawn, I have every major document lined up, the joint accounts, the insurance benefits, the property deed, the kids' college funds. All under my supervision, all with my digital signature. I can erase her name from them with a few keystrokes. I pause, looking at the screen. My hand hovers over the keyboard. And then, with a stone-cold finality, I do it. I move them to the trash. I shred them. I draft new documents, a dissolution of every joint obligation. The only file left is the formal notice of divorce. I don't sign it yet. I save it to the desktop, a silent threat. Let her see how it feels when everything crumbles. Asterisk. She doesn't come home for 3 days. The kids ask questions. They text her, they call. She responds vaguely, says she's at a friend's place, that she needs space, that their father is being difficult. I don't confirm or deny. I barely speak at all. I find myself slipping into a void. The house is quiet, except for the occasional footsteps of my son or daughter. They watch me with worried eyes, but they keep their distance. Even they sense a break that can't be undone. On the third evening, she storms in without warning. I'm in the living room, cold coffee on the table, flipping through channels on TV but not really watching. She bursts through the front door, eyes red, face pale. The kids are on the couch, waiting, anxious. She drops her bag on the floor with a thud, a swirl of tension follows her like a storm cloud. She says, "We need to talk. All of us." Her voice shakes. I kill the TV. Slowly, I stand. The kids shift uncomfortably. My daughter's eyes brim with tears. My son looks furious, as if he's blaming me for something he doesn't fully understand. We gather in the living room. She stands near the sofa, arms crossed. She breathes in and out, shallow. I'm not going to pretend. Your father and there's a problem. He's decided to sabotage everything. Her eyes flick to me, furious. He wants to destroy our finances, cut me off from everything. He's punishing me, and he doesn't care how it affects you. My son's jaw tightens. My daughter bursts into tears. I just stare at her, hollow. The kids turn to me, searching for an answer. I meet their gazes. My voice is low, lifeless. I'm not punishing her. She's the one who chose this path. I'm just done. She laughs bitterly. Oh, that's rich. You're done. So you throw everything away. This family. What about them? She points at the kids. They need college funds. They need stability. You're going to sabotage their future because you can't handle your anger. I feel my teeth clench. Don't you dare use them as a shield, I say quietly. I'll take care of them. I'll protect them from your mess. She shakes her head, tears in her eyes, voice rising to a shrill pitch. My mess. You left me lonely, you buried yourself in your work, you never saw me. And now, what, you want to erase me from everything like I never existed? How is that fair to them? My daughter sobs, Mom, Dad, stop. She's trembling, looking from one of us to the other in raw panic. My son stands stiff, fists tight at his sides. He looks at me with burning resentment. He mutters, "You're a monster," almost under his breath. She's your wife. You can't just do this. She's suffering. My chest constricts. The label echoes in my head, monster. Once, I would have died to protect my kids from hurt. Now, they see me as the villain. It rips through me like a blade. But I can't show that. I can't speak, or I'll break. I just stand there, silent, letting them vent their fury. She's crying now, shrill and dramatic. The kids comfort her. They hug her while giving me death stares. My entire life flips upside down in that one scene. I realize they're choosing her. They only see the outward cruelty of me shutting her out, of me dismantling our finances. They don't see the betrayal festering in my chest. Maybe they don't want to see it. I swallow painfully, voice emerging in a rasp, "If that's how you feel, then go with her. You want to stand by her side? Do it. I won't stop you." My son shakes his head, tears in his eyes. Who are you? And that question echoes in me, who am I now? Asterisk. They leave with her. They pack a few things, some clothes, essentials. She declares she's going to stay somewhere else until she can figure things out. The kids follow her, not even looking at me as they walk out the door. I stand at the threshold, fists clenched, watching them load up her car. She avoids my eyes, tears staining her cheeks. My heart feels like it's turning to dust. I want to scream or cry or punch something. But I do nothing. I just watch them go. Silence. The house is empty. The pit in my stomach is endless. Asterisk. Days become weeks. Lawyers get involved. Paperwork flies back and forth. I move through it all like a mechanical version of myself, a shell. My job is a blur. I show up, I do tasks, I leave. People try to talk to me, I barely respond. Nights are the worst, the quiet so thick it chokes me. Sometimes I sit in the living room, staring at that damned couch, replaying the mental images, her body arching under his hands, her face slack with pleasure. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I function on black coffee and fury. She tries calling me a couple of times, perhaps to negotiate or beg, I don't know. I don't answer. The kids send me angry texts. Mom's hurting, she's depressed, how can you do this? They never ask how I'm doing. They never ask if I'm alive inside. So I stop reading their messages. I let them remain unread. Something in me is dying, and I can't find a reason to keep it alive. Maybe that's what I want, to be rid of everything. Asterisk. Time crawls. Eventually, the divorce finalizes. We sign papers in a sterile conference room, attorneys present. She looks exhausted, older, hair pulled back too tightly. She glances at me. I avoid her gaze. When it's done, I walk out without a word. I don't look back. I sink into a life of isolation. The kids side with her fully. They block me from their social media, they ignore my calls. Or if they do pick up, it's only to fling accusations. Mom's broke, she's losing it, it's your fault. You're heartless. I let them talk. Their words slice me open. But I don't protest. I just hang up. Eventually, they stop calling too. My parents, living across the country, sense something's wrong. They ask if I'm okay. I lie, saying I'm fine. The less said, the better. I can't handle pity. Asterisk. 7 years pass. Yes, 7. Life moves on the way a wound scabs over, leaving you numb. I bury myself in work. I invest, I plan, I save. My name alone is on every document. I buy a new place, 1 bedroom, minimal furniture. The old house sold at a loss. She got some share, but not much. The kids drift out of my orbit altogether. I hear from a friend that they've grown up, one's working, another's in college. They never invite me to any events. They treat me like a pariah. Maybe I've become one. Over time, the memory of her face, twisted in pleasure under someone else's hands, becomes a recurring nightmare that no longer stabs, just aches. My heart turned to stone. People at work say I'm a machine. I arrive at dawn, leave after midnight. I don't date. I don't see friends. Sometimes I jog in the early morning. Sometimes I watch mindless TV. I exist, but I'm not sure I'm alive. Asterisk. Then one day, they come to my door. I'm in my small kitchen, brewing tea, when I hear the knock. I open it, and there they stand, my ex-wife, my kids. She's aged visibly. Hair graying, cheeks hollow, shoulders stooped. My son and daughter look uneasy, as if they're not sure if they're welcome. I stand there, silent, boiling kettle whistling behind me. She tries a smile, but it's watery. Hello, she manages. I say nothing, stepping aside so they can enter. They come in, glancing around the barren living room with its single couch, a small coffee table, stacks of files. My place is cold, minimal. I leave them there and return to the kitchen to silence the kettle. I pour hot water into my mug. I sense them hovering behind me. My daughter is the first to speak. Dad, she says, voice trembling. We wanted to see you. It's been a long time. I keep my back turned, stirring my tea. I nod, but no words come out. She continues, things got hard. We didn't realize. Mom was struggling. That man, the one she was with, he left her a year later. Took some of her money. She lost her job, the apartment. Then we found out she was in debt. Everything went wrong. My spoon clinks against the mug. I can sense them waiting, wanting me to turn around. I take a sip, letting the bitter warmth coat my tongue. Slowly, I face them. My son swallows, eyes downcast. We blamed you for so long, he whispers, but it turns out we didn't understand the whole story. We only saw. We just wanted to protect Mom. She was hurting. We never asked if you were hurting too. My ex-wife stands there, wringing her hands. She looks so frail. I was wrong, she says quietly. I see that now. Her voice falters. You were always honest, dependable. I ruined everything. She tries to come closer, but something in my face must stop her. She exhales shakily. I'm sorry, truly. I stand with my mug in hand. The steam swirls between us. My heart is a cold stone. In my mind, I see her with him again, the living room couch from so long ago. But the memory barely hurts now. It's a dull echo of betrayal. For years, I fantasized about this moment, her on my doorstep, broken, apologizing. And now here we are. I should feel vindicated, triumphant. Instead, I feel nothing. I say quietly, setting my mug on the counter. My words are measured, emotionless. You came all this way to say that. She blinks, tears gathering in her eyes. My daughter steps forward. Dad, we wanted to see if we could, reconnect. I look at her. She's grown into a woman now, no longer the frightened teenager I remember. My son stands beside her, jaws clenched, his eyes pleading. They want me back in their lives. They want absolution. My ex-wife stands behind them, eyes sunken, regret dripping from every pore. She looks like a twig that might snap in a stiff breeze. A voice inside me says, "They're your kids." They were confused. They were manipulated. But another voice says, "They chose their side without even hearing you out. They called you a monster and never looked back. Now that they realize I was right all along, they want a piece of me." So I just pick up my tea again, take a small sip. The bitterness feels soothing. My gaze flickers over their expectant faces. Then I walk past them to the living room. The old wooden floor creaks under my step. They follow me in silence. I can feel their tension. The kids exchange uncertain glances. My ex-wife's lips tremble. Finally, my son clears his throat. "Dad, can we at least sit and talk?" His voice is tight with hope. I lower myself onto the couch, setting the mug on the coffee table. I rest my elbows on my knees, clasping my hands together. They stand in front of me, looking cornered. My daughter hesitantly sits beside me, close but not touching. She smells a faint perfume, something floral. My ex-wife remains standing, her hands clutched together at her waist. Silence stretches. My ex-wife breaks it, voice a whisper. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I betrayed you in the worst possible way." She inhales shakily. "I can't take it back. All I can say is I'm sorry. And I wish I could fix the damage I did. All these years, I've been thinking how I threw away the one good thing I had." I stare at the coffee table, a faint scratch along its surface. I finally speak, though my voice is distant, like it's coming from another room. "What do you expect me to say?" She trembles. "Say anything. Yell at me. Curse me. Tell me how horrible I am. Just, give me something." I glance at her, feeling the faint flicker of pity. She's older, worn. Her eyes are red. But I also recall how she looked in the video, so full of passion for another man, while I was working, trusting her. She told him I never suspected a thing, that she was using me. I remember the line so clearly, "He doesn't even suspect how I'm using him." That was what she said, followed by a soft laugh, as if it were a private joke. I feel a pang in my chest. Then it recedes. "I have nothing to say," I murmur. "I did my screaming in silence these last 7 years." She nods, tears dripping down her cheeks. She doesn't wipe them away. My daughter starts to cry too, placing her hand over mine. "Dad," she pleads, "please don't shut us out. I'm sorry I called you a monster. I didn't know. I was trying to protect Mom." I look at her hand on mine. The skin is warm, young. My mouth feels dry. Slowly, I pull my hand away. "I'm not the same man," I tell her softly. "He's dead. You all helped kill him." She crumples, face contorting in sorrow. She covers her mouth. My son sinks to a chair, head in his hands. My ex-wife trembles where she stands. They realize it's not going to be easy. They want a big emotional hug, a happy reconciliation. They want me to break down and cry out how I missed them. But there's only emptiness inside me. After a while, my ex-wife quietly says, "I understand. We just wanted to see you. We thought maybe we could start again, or at least not be enemies." I nod. I don't hate you. And I don't. My hate burned itself out years ago. But I'm not who I used to be. My voice sounds hollow, final. I'm just tired. They remain there for a few minutes, tears and stifled sobs. Nobody knows what to say. Finally, I pick up my tea and take another sip. A long, deliberate one, letting the silence speak for me. Outside, a breeze rustles the trees, the faint hush pressing against the windows. I stand. I need to get back to work. My tone is neutral, and I walk to the front door, waiting. They follow me, uncertain. My ex-wife looks like she wants to say more, but I open the door, gaze fixed on the hallway outside. She hesitates, her lips forming an apology that never quite leaves her mouth. Then, with a last watery glance, they step out. I close the door gently behind them, the latch clicking with quiet finality. In the hush that follows, I lean back against the door, eyes closed, exhaling all the tension. Part of me wonders if I'm supposed to feel relief or sorrow. But I just feel numb. I set my mug on the nearest shelf, hearing the faint clink of ceramic. Then I rub my temples, a dull headache starting to throb. 7 years. They come back now, after everything. It doesn't matter. Life doesn't rewind. There's no do-over for those months of betrayal, for that quiet heartbreak, for all the nights I stared at the ceiling wanting to die. I used to dream of making them realize the truth, dream of vengeance. But the moments passed, and I'm still a hollow man. I think about them, out there in the hallway, walking to the elevator, tears probably shining on their cheeks. For a heartbeat, I almost open the door, call them back. Almost. But my hand stays on the knob. No. There's no place for them in the rubble that is my life. Not now. Maybe not ever. I push off the door, slip out of my shoes, and shuffle back into the living room. My tea is lukewarm, but I sip it anyway. I walk to the window, stare at the city lights in the distance. Cars pass on the road below, headlights weaving patterns on the asphalt. I take another drink of tea, feeling its mild bitterness. I can't help but wonder how many regrets I'm supposed to carry. Or if I even care about regrets anymore. I recall a phrase I read somewhere online, a snippet from a dating app or a forum. Something about how women sometimes say, I want a man who's stable, caring, reliable. Or they say, I want a man exactly like him, but I want him before he became so jaded, so cold. They want the earlier version of me, the man who believed in loyalty, who gave everything for love. But that version died. I gaze at my reflection in the dark glass, the faint contours of my face. A stranger looks back, eyes ringed with exhaustion, mouth set in a grim line. I feel that pressure in my chest again, the emptiness. One thought surfaces, if someone out there writes in her profile, looking for a man like him, she'd better remember that I'm gone. The man they think they want no longer exists. I sip my tea, letting the quiet envelop me, numb and weightless. And the city glitters on, bright and indifferent.